Hey guys, welcome back to Beach and Fishing. Paul here with you again today. Beach and Fishing is my site and channel where I talk about fishing. Things I like, things I found, recommended options, so on and so forth. Anywhere, anything that you want to discuss, anything that you disagree with me. I mention in all my videos and most of my posts that one thing I love about fishing is everyone has a different opinion and everyone finds things work differently for them. So again, comment below if you have a different opinion than I have, or I got something slightly inaccurate, because that's what fishing's about as well. And excuse me, that's probably even more so on a day like today when we talk about my 3 best lures for surf fishing. Now, normally when I talk about the 3 best something, I talk about a specific brand or a specific type. Today I've sort of had to expand that a little bit because lures, there is millions of lures and all different. Some you think are one category and they're actually a different category, and some work in some way somewhere and a different way somewhere else, and some people will use a lure for here but not for there, and vice versa. And you know what, I've just sort of tried to get through all of that and come up with more about the types of lures that you can use for surf fishing. Now, lures are an interesting thing as well, and it's almost like bait, where there's a specific lure that will work with certain fish better. But I've seen all different fish take the same type of lure, as I have seen all different fish take the same type of bait, even bait they shouldn't be taking. So, you know, at the end of the day, I think there's access to all the different types, and you control the different types, and you can use some in some spots and have them work a treat. Where we go down on the beach here in winter, which is coming into winter now where I live, I love a spoon lure. I use them almost exclusively and catch quite good fish on them. Whereas one of the other guys I go with will always use a jerkbait lure, hate spoon lures, or we call them spinners, hate spinners, always uses jerkbaits and catches pretty much the same fish. I can't use jerkbaits very well. I don't like them very much, so I don't use them. And again, that's personal preference. Doesn't mean they're no good. Just means I don't really like to use them. So anyway, talking about lures for surf fishing, the first thing we probably need to look at is the different types. Now, as I said before, I've seen jerkbaits called spinners. I've seen what I've known as jiggers called jerkbaits, so on and so forth. So I'm just trying to do the best I can if I'm trying to put it into a category. Again, comment below. Love to hear feedback. Let's start with the main four types of lures that you'll probably use in the surf. Remembering that there's fly fishing lures, there's deep sea fishing lures like the big game lures, and when we go out to a dam near us and we go freshwater fishing, we use I can't remember what they're called, the name's gone to me, that we have lures with big shiny things on the side. So I'm not talking about them in the surf either, because they're not suitable for the surf. So the 4 that I'm come up with, first one is a spoon lure. Now these are the ones that I love. This here is the type that I use. It's just a straightforward aluminium or brass lure. They come in, you can see the reflective mark there. Some are painted to match the color of the fish, which is never a bad thing. They have a single triple hook on the back, which can be replaced. You can buy these hooks separately, because the problem is, like any tackle, the hook go blunt, and you don't want to throw out your lure just because the hook's gone blunt. So you can replace these hooks. This is a silver one. We have a gold one here. I've heard people call these jig lures as well, because they do jig them along every now and then. How they're designed to work is, you can see that it's, I don't know if you can see that very well, how it's sort of curved there at the back. That's designed to make it go like that, so it looks like a fish swimming. That's how that works. Another spoon type lure here. This one's more of the traditional spoon. It's like a curved out bit of metal, has a little red attractant on the side. Again, the triple hook on the back. This one's a lot lighter, so you would use this where you don't have to cast as far, because a lot of lighter lures don't cast far. These ones are 2 different weights. This is 20, this is 20 and 40. I normally start with this one. If I can't get it out far enough, I'll change to this one. So that's how lures tend to work. These are spoon lures, as I say, designed to swim in, look like fish. Get them in all sorts of ways and shapes and forms and colours. I saw some rude ones the other day, shaped like the male appendage for those special Bucks weekend fishing trips, so the thing said. they're shiny and they're colourful and they're reflective. They probably work just as well as these ones. But yeah, so they're sperm lures. Next type we've got here is, we call them soft plastics, but they're called jigging lures, I think, by default. Basically what that is, you can see this, I've got two here. This one is looks like a little bait fish. And this one looks like a little prawn or a shrimp if you're in a different part of the world. How they work is, if I can get that off quickly, I should have taken one off beforehand. So generally you get the jig head, which is a lead, like a lead sinker with the hook eye in it, and then the hook at the back. And then these plastics, why we call them soft plastics, they then, where's the break on this one? Can't find where the break is. They just hook in through the gap in the sink, in the thing there. I can't find where it is now. This is great video, isn't it? I can't find where the thing is. I can do it on this one. So you can see there, there's a little break in there. You just slide the hook, the jig head through, or slide the hook through that end even, and slot it on, and then you've got it there. So you can replace these. If we go down to a local bait shop, our local tackle shop, sorry, you can just buy this by the packet. All different colours, shapes, sizes, looks. As I said, that's a prawn one or a shrimp one. You can get them and look like worms. You can get them to look like, we have yabbies here that we pump. You can get them to look like yabbies. We use these in the kayaks chasing flathead more so than the surf, but you can get them any colour you like, any sort of fish looking thing you like. And again, the jig heads come in different weights. So if you want a heavier one or a bigger one, you can get these really big sizes. I went fishing in a boat recently out on one of the reefs, and one of the guys I went with used a soft plastic the whole time, and it had a massive big sinker on it, big hook, one, thing triple the size of this, and he used that the whole time and caught fish on it. So, they can use anywhere. But that's your second type of lure, the soft plastic. Again, the jig head and a single hook. Again, the hooks go blunt, so replace them every now and then. And the plastics you can buy as plastics or in full kits. Some of the plastics even come with a slimy, smelly substance on them, which is designed to attract fish more so as well, because they smell like fish, not as well as look like them. Okay, third one here. I actually haven't got one on me. I thought I did, but I don't. So I'm just going to show you on the page here. This is called, again, my research showed them as plugs. We've always known them as jerkbaits. They're basically the same shape as a fish. Again, all different colours, shapes, sizes, types. Some of them have little breaks in between them so that they look like so the back moves independently of the front to make it more look like a swimming fish. They have generally 1, 2 or 3 triple pronged hooks, some 2 on the bottom and 1 on the back, or 1 on the bottom, 1 on the back. And most of them have this little, we always call them a duckbill. We actually call them duckbill duck lures most of the time, because they've got a little duck bill on the top. What that duck bill does is, as the lure is going across, they tend to float, and as it goes along, all of a sudden, as soon as you put any pull on the line, that duck bill makes them dive down. And they'll dive down all the way to the bottom as you pull them in, and if you release, they'll come back up, and then they'll dive down again, come back up. So a lot of it's designed, again, to look like, they look like an injured fish, because injured fish will go up and down. They also, they look like a fish twitching. They, as one guy says, ring the dinner bell for the fish, because they twitch and they move up and down, and basically they're just designed to attract fish. Work very well. We do use them out in the boat if we're trolling quite a bit, and every now and then we'll try one behind us in a kayak if the right fish are around. But in the surf, they're very good, because they will dive through the surf. They tend to be more aware about the one weight. A lot of people will, if they want to use them, will actually put a sinker on as well, so they can get it out there to start with. The sinker will reduce the amount of flotation it has, but they still work quite well if you can get the right sinkers for them. So you've got that there. Again, always shapes and sizes, even up to the big game ones, which you can use them out in boats as well. But that is your jerkbait or plug lure, sorry. And the last one is basically a straight metal lure, like that. This one is quite heavy. You obviously can't see it. It's got the hook at the front is actually cast in as part of the metal, and it's got the hook at the back. Basically, this one you throw it out and reel it in really fast, so it looks like a fish. They have contours and stuff on the side to make them look like fish. Some of them will twitch a lot. They have little things in them that make them twitch, little weights that make them twitch, which makes them look like an injured fish. But effectively, we throw these out when there's bait fish around and just pull them through the bait fish. And hopefully the fish that are attacking the bait fish see this and take this instead of the bait fish that are there. So that's why we use them. Again, all manner of ways, shapes and sizes. Some do have little duck bills on the front. Some of them have breaks in, so they move a bit more. Some of them are more like spoon baits. Some of them, yeah, thousands of different type ones, all different ways, shapes and sizes. Some have little feathers on the back as well. And in fact, all of them do. I've seen spoon ones with the feathers on the back. I've seen the jig ones where you can put little feathers here before you attach the soft plastic. All different, doesn't matter what it is you've got there. You can add all sorts of stuff to them. So they're the 4 types of lures. You've got your spoon, your jig or soft plastics, your plug or jerkbait, or the straight metal lures. Again, they're all called different things by different people, but they're the 4 main types that you want to look at for surf fishing. So when you're going through and looking at a lure that suits you, I mentioned before that they do match across quite a different number of fish. Like, as I say, I've caught all sorts of different ones in this. There's a certain satisfaction from catching a fish on a lure too. But that said, I've caught the same things on soft plastics. I've caught the same things on those ones. To be honest, it just comes down to what your personal preference is, in my opinion. But having said that, if you're going to a beach that you know there's certain types of fish there, do some research and find out what lures those fish tend to like more than others. Because again, why not give yourself the best chance of catching a fish by using the lure that they're more likely to take than something else? So if you're chasing Tailor and they're more likely to take a spoon than a soft plastic, then use the spoon. The soft plastic can work on them, especially if it looks like a pilchard, which is the natural, the traditional bait that we use with gang hook that you tend to use for Tailor. They might take it if you make it look like a pilchard on one of these, but use one of these instead because you've got a higher chance of catching it. The other things to consider with lures is more about the rod. Now, a lot of rods have a weight level on them. I've got one here. Let's see what it has on it. Doing this without even having checked. It will tell me that it likes line 10 to 15 kilos. It doesn't actually have a lure weight. Some of them have lure weight or sinker weight specifications on here. So they'll tell you the heaviest lure it can take. This one doesn't. But this one here is I've got this for the big baits when we chase the big jewfish. This one's a heavy rod, which means it doesn't bend as easy as a light rod. So have a look at your rod power. The rod power will be how bendy it is. The bendier the rod in general, they don't like the heavier lures or sinkers. I've got a really light whippy rod that I use for casting if we're just chasing the surface, the shore break, brim and whiting and stuff like that. I just use a light sinker and a hook on it. It doesn't like the heavier. It'll handle something like that, but it doesn't like something like this. It's too whippy for it, and you can't cast it properly and end up snapping your line or tangling it or whatever. So with your rods, if it hasn't got an actual lure or sinker weight specification on it, basically the lighter it is, so light, they go light, medium, heavy in general. The heavier the rod, the more weight it can handle. And then you've got action on rods as well, and action is actually where it bends. Slower rods bend down near the handle, so a slower rod would bend around here. Faster rods bend right up near the tip. Faster rods cast better, and they can also handle heavier lines because they flick at the top and they shoot it out, especially if you're on a bait caster. They will cast a lot better with heavier sinkers and heavier lures than a slow rod because it bends at the bottom. So when you're trying to cast, it's already bent here before you got it out there, so it doesn't whip and cast as well as a fast rod. So if you're going to need to use heavy sinkers, and that comes back to the beach, if you're chasing a fish that you need to get out past the waves, past the break, you'll need a medium to heavy rod with a moderate to fast action so that you can get it out there. No point using a really light rod if you need to cast all the way out past the shore breaks. That said, if you're chasing ground, these soft plastics we use if we're chasing the bottom dwellers like flathead. In other countries where you chase flounder, some people chase stingrays on them and stuff like that too. These are good because they sort of jig along the ground. I use a light rod on that because I'm just casting there and just sort of whipping it along. So I like a light rod for something like that. And again, a light lure works better if you're trying to jig along. So this one here will jig up and down from the ground a lot simpler than what a big heavy one will, because it'll sit on the ground and give us a lot more effort to try and pull it off the bottom if it reaches the bottom. So think about the weight of the lure you want to use as well. Okay, all that's in the post, so I won't carry on with that too much longer. So let's have a look at the 3 lures that I would recommend if you're looking to get out with it. Pros and cons here. You can generally cast a lure further than a bait. It's cleaner, obviously. They can be swapped more readily, and you don't need to get a new bait every time you fish. You can't throw and leave them in a holder. So the big rod I showed you a second ago where we leave them in a holder, you can't do that with a lure. They can be more expensive. The hooks can go blunt. You can replace hooks, obviously. And they're more prone to snags because there's more to them. They'll snag work. They're harder to get out of snags than what a normal hook is, or you end up losing your lure. Okay, so let's have a look. First one here, fishing lure baits, jigging baits. This one's just a pack. So it's good for those of you who are looking, who don't really know what you want to do. You can see the pack there. It's got 3 different types of jig heads, 3 16 quarter ounce and 3 8 ounce jig heads. And you've got all the different types of plastics. It's got paddle tails, which is one I showed us, jerk bait. Again, the different types of movement, curved tail grubs, and craw breaks, which is a little crayfish. So if you're in areas where crayfish are predominant, that would be a good one to throw onto your soft plastic. So yeah, that's your first one. If you're looking for getting in the world of soft plastics, that would be a good starting point because it's got a lot of different jig heads, lots of different plastics, and you can give that a good go. Okay, second one is your spoon lure. I love these lures. As I say, these are the ones I use. This one chosen here, nice and cheap. 3/4 ounce, 10 to 15 pound line, so they'll go quite strong. Single with a treble hook at the back, like I showed you, aluminium, and actually that solid brass. I should change that to brass, shouldn't I? By the time you watch the video, hopefully I'll change that to brass. But yeah, so if you're looking for spoon lures, click there and you'll see your spoon lures that you can purchase. As I keep saying, lots and lots of different types. The third one here I've chosen a DIY double clutch. To be honest, I'm in as I mentioned here, I'm in quite a few different Facebook groups for fishing, just to see what people are talking about, to get ideas, to talk fishing, to have them disagree with me, all that sort of stuff. And if ever they are talking about lures that they love, the DIY double clutch is one that comes up all the time. They mention it. I reckon if there's 10 posts in Facebook, 9 of them talk about the DIY double clutch jerkbait. So why not give it a try? They're more expensive, obviously. You can replace hooks. They've got 2 hooks underneath and 1 at the back. It's made of tungsten, and they got bib design. The duck bill is called a bib, and apparently it goes nice and straight and deep. 29 colours. As I say, very popular lure on all the pages. If you're looking to get started with a jerkbait, or you've been using them and not having much luck, try one of these. I have purchased one of these. I bought one the other day when I was writing this post, so I will come back and let you know how they work. Okay, that's it, guys. That's my 3 best lures for surf fishing. Hope that was helpful for you. If you're watching this within a post, please subscribe to my channel and like the post. the video, sorry. That way I can keep you up to date with everything to do with fishing and give you more chances for us to have a discussion about what you're using. If you're watching within the post and you have any questions to do with lures, any experience, what lures work for you, what don't work well for you, what work well for you with certain fish, we'd love to hear your comments below. See if we can get a conversation going about the best lures. I can add it to my post or refer to below or whatever. Would love to hear from you. Okay, guys, happy fishing. Chat to you soon. Bye.